Welcome to the Matt O'Grady Coaching Podcast, mattogradycoaching.com. Today I want to talk about the wisdom of Ralph Waldo Emerson. So, 20-something years ago when I was getting started on this path, I had known who Ralph Waldo was, but I hadn't really read much of his stuff, and I think in high school and college I had to read some essays, self-reliance, so I was familiar with him and that he was connected to Henry David Thoreau, which I'll do a podcast on in the future because these guys are just tremendous. Part of that transcendentalist group that had just a couple dozen really amazing minds of men and women who most of them lived in New England, and they were just really intelligent and very spiritual and really working on themselves and trying to grow. They were really affected by Indian philosophy, yoga, and similar things. They were some of the most enlightened people, the first really group of enlightened Americans that I'm aware of, and really beautiful. So I'm going to share some of his quotes here and the wisdom of Ralph Waldo Emerson and just talk a little bit about his wisdom here. This first one is, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." And there's a lot of people who use that quote or something similar to it. It is so true. Almost sometimes, right, we could feel like we're falling 5, 10, 20 times a day sometimes. And I can relate to it. It's life is going to knock you down. At least in my humble experience. Life is going to do that. Some way, somehow. It may be private. You may not ever tell anyone about it. It's often not the type of thing that someone would post on social media. But in my humble opinion, based on my own life and the people that I know, over 50 years of life, everyone gets knocked down. Sometimes in a really huge way, sometimes in dozens of small ways over years, sometimes, like I said, a bunch of times in one day is when it could also happen. So really important to have this mindset that the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Because if that's our philosophy, if that's how we live, it's okay. We can fall. What matters is rising. And I just think that is really, really awesome. If we can really think about that idea, that philosophy, and just live that way. So when something knocks us down, it's okay. What did we learn? How did it make us better? What is the solution? What do I need to learn so that doesn't happen again, or so that I can manage it better next time? There's just so much wisdom in quote-unquote failing, falling down, losing, etc. I've got another podcast. I've already recorded it, but it's going to come out soon on how death and loss can be such a great teacher. Here's another quote, very short, from Ralph Waldo. He says, "The first wealth is health." And if you guys have been listening to my podcast over the last year, I've talked about several of the people that I know that I'm very close to going through health issues and serious ones. And man, this quote has never been more true for me, that the first wealth is health. I'm a disabled veteran, and so I've gone through my own physical and emotional pain points, and it's just true. It is true. If we are not healthy of body, mind, emotions, it's really hard to have a good life. Our health really has to be a very important part of how we manage our lives. From what we put in our body, what we do with our body, how we think, and how we feel. It's absolutely imperative to having a great life. It doesn't mean you can't have great moments without taking care of those things, but to have a really fulfilled, healthy, joyful life, not just random moments of happiness that we kind of eke out here and there. Health is so important. And here's a piece on emotional health from Ralph Waldo. For every minute you remain angry, you give up 60 seconds of peace of mind. Yeah, anger, it's okay. We all get angry. That's just part of life, right? We get frustrated, we get angry, get upset, feel disrespected, feel hurt. People do things, say things that we don't want them to, and we're attached to it, and it hurts our ego or hurts our feelings. But for every minute you remain angry, it's important to remember what you're giving up. Peace of mind. Yeah. We do not want to give up peace of mind. As you guys know, I've recorded many meditations on peace, talking about peace of mind, peace of heart, living peacefully. You know, when all the unrest happens, regardless of what it's for, it just shines a light on peace for me. No matter what it is, whether it's here in the U.S. or abroad, whether it's war or some violent demonstration or something, just reminds me peace is what we need. Peace begets peace. So the more peaceful you can be in your own life, the more peaceful, smooth, beautiful, relaxed experiences you're going to have in your life. Here's another great wisdom quote from Ralph Waldo. Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. And not only is his writing really full of wisdom, clearly, it's also just very beautiful. The cadence, he really had such a tremendous grasp of the English language. And I've even read these books. I've been to the museum in Concord, Massachusetts, where it has a lot of his original journals and notebooks and letters. And I spent a few hours there reading these gorgeous letters that he wrote to his wife, to his children, to his friends, to famous people that he never even met, but wanted to reach out to them and share his thoughts with them. Just really amazing work. Ralph Waldo was a genius of self-development, of, positivity, of connection to nature and God and the universe. He just really had so much of this figured out. I just love it. Here's another one. So true. Though we travel the world over to find the beautiful, we must carry it with us, or we find it not. Yeah, that is so true. Beauty, sure, we can go looking for it on the outside, but it really needs to be within us. We need to cultivate that garden of beauty, joy, kindness, love, peace, compassion within us every day, even if it's just a few minutes a day, to keep ourselves even-keeled, balanced, connected, awake, not caught up in the BS and the drama of life, all the media BS, and instead just take that time to really connect on the inside. There's a couple more before I leave you today. I hope this really inspires you to read Self-Reliance or any of the other really spectacular works by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. So many great teachers talk about this. Abraham talks about this. Don't waffle. Just make decisions and move forward, and then adjust and be flexible along the way. It's just, I know people say, oh, what about a big decision? What if it's expensive? What if it's, getting married or buying a house or, doing these kind of quote unquote big milestone moments in our lives? And it really doesn't matter. Trust your intuition, trust your gut, follow your heart. Once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. And if you adjust along the way, things are going to work out. Listen, will there be challenges? Will there be failures? Will things not work out always exactly how we want them to? Yes, of course. That's called life. That's called this physical life, this material life that we live in. But it doesn't mean that we can't manage it. It doesn't mean that we can't figure things out along the way. It's 100% possible. Here's the one I'm going to leave you with, because this one's really beautiful. Simple and beautiful. You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late. Don't we know that? Life passes by quickly. Do kindness, especially for those you love most. Random, beautiful kindness. Go above and beyond. It's okay. It's not about what you're going to receive back. It's in the giving that we're rewarded. You will receive it back. Just don't get attached to, if I give to this person, then I got to give back to me kind of thing, because that often gets funky quick, really quick. You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late. What about those who pass away, move away, life changes, something happens? We coulda, shoulda, woulda. Do it today. Do it now. Who can you think of right now? We're going to end this podcast in 30 seconds. Who can you reach out to right after this is done? Who? Think about them right now. Make a decision, follow through, and do that kindness right now. Thank you for listening. MattO'Grady Coaching.com